The emergence of lab-grown meat marks a pivotal moment in our culinary history, challenging not only our palates, but our perceptions of what constitutes food. At its core, cultivated meat represents a bold attempt to reconcile the ever-growing demand for meat with the urgent need for sustainable practices. As our global population swells and the pressures on our environment intensify, traditional meat production methods are increasingly scrutinized for their inefficiencies and ethical implications. Lab-grown meat offers a tantalizing glimpse into a future where we can enjoy the flavors and textures of meat without the associated moral and ecological costs.
The process of cultivating meat in a lab is nothing short of a scientific marvel. By harnessing the power of cellular agriculture, scientists are able to replicate the complex biological processes that occur naturally within animals. A small biopsy of animal cells is all it takes to kickstart the growth of meat in a controlled environment. This method not only bypasses the need for raising and slaughtering animals, but also drastically cuts down on the resources required. Imagine a world where vast tracts of land are no longer needed for grazing, where water usage is minimized, and where greenhouse gas emissions are significantly reduced. The environmental benefits alone make lab-grown meat a compelling alternative. Yet, the road to widespread acceptance of lab-grown meat is fraught with challenges. The initial cost of producing the first lab-grown burger was astronomical, but technological advancements have since slashed these expenses. However, achieving price parity with conventional meat remains a hurdle. As production methods become more efficient and scale up, the hope is that lab-grown meat will become not only accessible, but also economically viable for consumers around the world. The promise of a cleaner, safer, and potentially cheaper source of meat could be a game-changer for food security, particularly in regions where access to traditional meat is limited. The taste and texture of lab-grown meat are crucial to its success. Early taste tests suggest that consumers may not be able to distinguish between lab-grown and conventional meat, a testament to the meticulous work of scientists in replicating the sensory experience of eating meat. This similarity is a double-edged sword. While it may ease the transition for meat lovers, it also raises questions about the authenticity of lab-grown meat. Is it truly meat if it never came from a living, breathing animal? This philosophical quandary is one that society will need to grapple with as we redefine our relationship with food. Public perception is another significant barrier. For many, the idea of consuming something grown in a lab is unsettling, conjuring images of sterile, unnatural processes. Overcoming this psychological resistance will require transparency from producers and effective communication about the safety and benefits of lab-grown meat. Education campaigns that highlight the environmental and ethical advantages could help shift public opinion, gradually normalizing the concept of cultivated meat as a viable option. Moreover, the economic implications of a shift towards lab-grown meat cannot be ignored. Traditional livestock farming is a cornerstone of many rural economies, providing livelihoods for countless families. The transition to lab-grown meat could disrupt these communities, necessitating careful consideration and planning to mitigate any negative impacts. Supporting farmers in adapting to new roles within the agricultural sector, perhaps through involvement in the production of lab-grown meat itself, could be one way to ensure that progress does not come at the expense of people's livelihoods. The involvement of high-profile investors underscores the potential of lab-grown meat to revolutionize the food industry. With backing from influential figures, the technology is poised to receive the funding and attention needed to overcome its current limitations. These investments signal a belief in the transformative power of cultivated meat, not just as a niche product, but as a cornerstone of future food systems. Critics, however, caution against viewing lab-grown meat as a panacea. While it addresses many issues associated with traditional meat production, it is not without its own set of challenges. The energy required to maintain bioreactors and the infrastructure needed to scale production could offset some of the environmental gains. Additionally, the reliance on high-tech solutions raises concerns about accessibility and equity, particularly in developing regions. Ultimately, the success of lab-grown meat hinges on its ability to integrate seamlessly into our existing food culture while offering clear advantages over traditional meat. It may initially find its place alongside conventional meat, appealing to environmentally conscious consumers and those seeking cruelty-free options. Over time, as technology advances and costs decrease, it could become a staple in diets worldwide. As we stand on the cusp of this potential food revolution, the conversation about the future of meat is more relevant than ever. Whether lab-grown meat becomes a dominant force or remains a complementary option, its development is a testament to human ingenuity and our capacity to innovate in the face of pressing global challenges. As we ponder the implications of this technology, we are invited to reflect on our values, our traditions, and the kind of world we wish to create for future generations. The journey of lab-grown meat is just beginning, and its impact could be as profound as it is delicious.